So it's 7 p.m. and I'll start to call this meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. And roll call, please.
Chair Bundy,
Here.
Commissioners Jackson,
Present.
Cassidy,
Present.
Daniels, Stuland,
Present.
Commissioner Vance is out, excused.
And do we have any presentations or commendations for this evening?
Through the chair, we don't have any presentations and commendations tonight. Mr. Marco Cardenas from Pathfinders for Hope, who was supposed to present last Thursday, he couldn't make it tonight, but he will present in January.
Thank you, Sherry. I don't see the City Council liaison present, so I'm going to assume no report from the City Council liaison.
Through the chair, we don't have any report from Councilmember Lediju tonight.
Okay, then Community Forum.
Thank you, Chair. Currently do not have any members of the public signed up for the community forum. However, I did start a timer, which is reflected on the top left corner of your screen, for any interested parties to sign up for the community forum. At the conclusion of that timer, if anybody signs up, I'll be sure to let you know. In the meantime, feel free to carry on with the agenda.
Thank you, Manny. Item 7 is the public comment regarding consent calendar items. Members of the public wishing to address the Commission on consent calendar items are requested to submit a completed speaker card to the staff secretary. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes pursuant to Vallejo Municipal Code Section 2.02.310. Requests for removal of consent items received from the public are subject to approval by a majority vote of the Commission. Items removed from the consent calendar will be heard immediately after approval of the consent calendar and agenda. Any speaker cards?
None at this time, Chair.
Thank you. Item 8 is consent calendar and approval of the agenda. Item A, approval of the agenda. Do we have a recommendation?
Chair, I make a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
And second? Was that Commissioner Daniels' second?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioners Bundy,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Cassidy,
Aye.
Daniels,
Aye.
Stuland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item B is approval of the minutes. Their recommendation?
I make a motion to, or through the chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Commissioners Bundy,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Cassidy,
Aye.
Daniels, Stuland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item C is to adopt a resolution approving a schedule of regular Housing and Community Development Commission meeting dates for 2026. And the current recommendation is for those meetings to stay on Thursdays, 7 p.m.
I make a motion to accept the resolution.
I second the motion.
Okay, Commissioners Bundy,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Cassidy,
Aye.
Daniels,
Aye.
Stuland.
Aye.
Thank you.
And it looks like the timer has reached its limit for the community forum, so we can close the community forum. Item 9 is the action calendar. So notice, members of the public wishing to address the commission on action calendar items are requested to submit a completed speaker card to the staff secretary. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes pursuant to Vallejo Municipal Code, Section 2.02.420. Any speaker cards?
None at this time, Chair.
Thank you, Manny.
Through the chair, I don't have any PowerPoint presentation, but I can speak on the report. So our recommendation is to adopt a resolution recommending acceptance by the Housing Authority of the City of Vallejo Board of Directors of the Housing Successor Agency Annual Report on the Low and Moderate Income Housing Asset Fund, or what we call LMI-HAF for short, for the previous fiscal year, 2024 through 25, for the period from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. And second, that the HACV Board of Directors direct staff by not later than December 31st, 2025 to A, post the report on the City of Vallejo's website, and B, forward the report to the California Department of Housing and Community Development, or state HCD. This is a report that we have our finance department update every year, and we have to submit to state HCD by December 31st of every year. It's a required report on the assets, on the assets that were transferred to the Housing Authority when it became the Housing Successor Agency for the Redevelopment Agency that was dissolved years ago. In the report, you will see that we have a deposit of a total of $793,128 into the fund. And at the close of the fiscal year, which was June 30th, the fund had a ending balance of $1,371,744. In the previous fiscal year, we expended $8,957 on admin expenditures. These include some for the consultant and services of Amerinat, which is a loan administrator for our department, and staff time. We also provided a loan to Firm Foundation for the Broadway project for $899,471 for the fiscal year 2024 through 2025. We've encumbered $7,767 for this current fiscal year, and that is a little bit of money left over from the previous fiscal year for the Broadway project. There was about 1,740 remaining that we carried over to this fiscal year, and about 6,000 for the consultant. So that's the end of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions and discussion?
Through the chair, I do have a question. We mentioned that we gave Firm Foundation a loan of roughly just under $900,000. What are the terms of repayment, and when do we expect that repayment to start happening?
So actually, the loan agreement was for, I just wanted to give more information. It was for 3.3. So it started 2023, 24, and then there was remaining 24, 25. And I'm sorry, I don't know the exact terms. I could research on it when I get back into the office, and then I could let the commission know. But there is an executed loan agreement between the city and from Foundation.
Thank you, that does answer my question.
Shari, for education, can you give us a little bit of background on the LMI HAF and distinctions between that and the PBV and HCV programs and the relationship between them?
Through the chair. So this fund was created when, so there was a Vallejo redevelopment agency years and years ago that was dissolved. And part of the assets of that redevelopment agency was transferred over to the Housing Authority. So the Housing Authority became the housing successor agency. And the deposits that the fund receives are from loans. So the Housing Authority's responsibility for this fund is more for loan administration. Hence, we have that expenditure for a loan servicing expense, because we have a company called Amerinet who helps us administer the loans that we have given through LMI HAF. Project-based vouchers come from HUD. So they're very different. They're separate, yeah.
Through the chair, Chair Bundy, refresh me the action that we need to take on this. Are we accepting this report? What does it mean to adopt the resolution? Is that what we're doing?
Correct, yeah. So it would be accepting the report.
As is?
As is.
Clarification for me through the chair on the loan, going back to that for just a second. So it's for $794,000. The original principal was $3.3 million. So is that to say that they've made payments on this loan, Shari, or give me a little bit more background on that?
Through the chair, they have not made payments to the loan.
So I want to understand, how did the balance shift from 3.3 to 700 with no payments acknowledged on the loan?
So, through the chair, the loan agreement is for a total of 3.3. Again, I'm not sure about the terms of the agreement. So Firm Foundation would submit invoices to us, the Housing Authority, and then we would reimburse them.
So just so I'm clear, is this a precedence relationship? We've done this before where we've taken the loan amount and allowed a firm to pay it down by submitting invoices that they paid to the tune of $2.1 million? Or is this common for you to do, and this is how we do it?
Through the chair, we have in previous fiscal years loaned funds to the Sacramento Street project, which is now called the Blue Oak Landing, and that loan was between Eden Housing and the city.
And they were allowed to pay in expense and not in cash? So I guess what I'm saying, does everybody understand my question? Mic went off. Just a little bit. Through the chair, I want to understand, if you could help me, Chair Bundy. My question is, if there's a loan, which I understand the loan, I probably signed off on it. And so help me understand, I thought there were payments being made toward this loan, but now I'm understanding it's invoice and expense. And I asked if there was a precedence for this, or is this common in our practice? And I did hear the names that Shari gave me, but my question is still the same. Are they allowed to submit invoices, or do they make, they receive cash, I'm assuming. They did not receive $3.3 million in credits, is that right?
Yes, they receive cash.
So they receive cash, but they pay back in expenses. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so the
Okay.
process, it's on a reimbursement basis.
Okay.
And it is, so if my recollection is correct, like with Sonoma Estates, there's a current loan out to CHDC for that project. And this is just my recollection, but I believe that when the project is completed, that loan is then absolved by completion of the project. Right? So I think it's a similar thing it's a similar operation to the way the city has operated in the past. This is not a deviation.
Through the chair, I think the difference is in that project, there was no question about its origin or its performance. I do think in this particular case, there are questions about performance as well as validity of performance.
I'd say we have questions about both projects.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Through
sorry.
the chair, no, please. I just want to clarify that the outstanding balance on that loan is 3.3 million, and that the money that we loaned as of fiscal year 24-25, that was the 899,470.8. That, I think that's the difference. They didn't reimburse, they weren't reimbursed, or that wasn't payments back. That was just the amount that we loaned them. And then we take possession of the property once it's complete as the city. Is that correct?
Through the chair, I'm not sure about the ownership at the end of the project. I can ask some other city staff and get back to you on that.
Through the chair, I am still confused about how a $3.3 million loan with no payment is being received. I'm not, the numbers are not adding up. I'm confused.
So,
Question is, are these loans that are they're like a barter system, or, because it's not balancing? And you just said that we did not, so the property does not become ours at the end of the project. So what is the benefit?
Yeah, so Chari, I think that something that comes up and again is that we need pretty regular updates from the city manager's office. And I think we're probably due for one of those pretty soon. So updates on all the existing open housing projects. Right, because we do have a lot of questions on how the fiscal balancing works. And thank you.
yeah, through the chair, we actually have that penciled in January because several meetings ago, the commission did want a quarterly update, so it is due, the update is due.
Yeah, so to say that over the mic, that this item, the report is due for December 31st. Correct?
Through the chair, yes. So we are required to submit the report to state HCD every December 31st. So this is an exercise that we go through every year with the commission and the Housing Authority Board. Once the commission reviews and approves this tonight, we are scheduled to go before the Housing Authority Board for their approval, and that's on the 16th. That's next week, Tuesday, and then I make sure to submit it typically like within that week, normally Wednesday or Thursday next week.
And is there currently any fiscal impact for submitting this report by that date? And to follow up on that, is the city are we contracting dollars by submitting this report in any way? What's the impact of submitting the report or not submitting the report?
Through the chair, we have always submitted a report on time every year. I haven't checked what the impact is, but typically we just submit this every year.
Again, this is through the chair. I think this is just for clarification for everybody. This report is just basically stating all of the money that was lent out through this program, correct? Through the, I don't see the acronym in front of me. HIF, whatever. This report is simply going over what we lent out, and that's it. It has nothing to do with the terms of repayment, what happens after the project is done. That's outside of the scope of this report. This is just state compliance saying this is the amount of money that we have provided through this fund. Is that correct?
So through the chair, it's not specifically the loan, it's more of what money came in and then how much we've spent. It could be admin expense, like staff time or consultant. There were years we didn't made loans. We just took the loan repayments. So it's just basically like letting them know we received this much money and we expended it on, whatever categories are allowed.
So through the chair, I think where my questions lie are slightly different. My question is, since it's a summarized report, I don't recall this report being this dense in the past. There was additional documentation there to give a historical account. While I understand the value of this report, obviously, I think what I'm missing here, it is a summarized version of the normal annual report. I don't recall it being this dense in the past.
Through the chair, it's a template. So if you Google other agencies, they all look the same. We just plug in the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, take action. We're okay. We have our choice. Let's go for it. I am.
Any further questions or discussion? Are we ready to take action or make a recommendation?
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution recommending acceptance of the Housing Authority of the City of Vallejo Board of Directors of the Low and Moderate Income Housing Asset Fund Annual Report for fiscal year 24 and 25.
I'm going to second that.
Commissioners Bundy,
Aye.
Jackson,
Abstain.
I'm sorry? Nay. Cassidy,
Aye.
Daniels,
Nay.
Stuland,
Aye.
thank you.
So then, item 10, written communications. Do we have any written communications, Shari?
Through the chair, The written communications, so we don't have anything from the member of the public. I do have one from, it's actually a report from a consultant retained by the city. It's on your desk. It is the MRG report. It's the final report on boards, commissions, and committees. Assessment report from MRG. MRG did a study on our boards and commissions, and they have recommendations which start on page 9. They presented this report on October 14th they presented it to the city council. So if you haven't watched or were not aware of the report, I just wanted to give you a copy, and maybe in your free time, read the report, but the recommendations again start on page 9.
Thank you. And if members of the public wanted to view this, is this on the city website?
Through the chair, I'm not sure if it's, the meeting is on
As
the city
part of the
website,
October
yeah,
14th
and the reports on the city website.
Thank you.
Through the chair, which commissioners from the Housing Commission participated in this assessment?
I didn't-
So there
I
were
have
no
no
members
knowledge of
of the
that.
Housing Commission participated in the assessment?
Yeah, I know I didn't.
Okay. So just to make that, is that correct, Shari? There were no members of the Housing Commission that participated in this assessment?
Through the chair, I'm not aware. The consultant worked with the city manager's office. I'm not sure what their process was, if they have called or contacted a member or members of the Housing and Community Development Commission. I can check on that.
The assessment is complete, is that correct? The report is here, is that right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 11 on our agenda is report of the committee and board secretary. So report of the secretary may from time to time report on items that may be of interest to the commission and the general public. Any current reports?
Through the chair, I missed mentioning this during the roll call. Ms. Lawanda Smith has resigned from the commission. She has moved. So that means that she could no longer serve, and we are grateful for her service on the commission.
Yeah, thank you. So also that means we have a currently open seat.
Through the chair, that is correct. And thank you for pointing that out. And even though we only have 6 for now, our quorum will remain to be 4. I know there was confusion before when we only had, I think, 4 commissioners. We didn't realize that even if there's only 4 and we had 3 vacancies, we still had to have 4 to hold a quorum.
Thank you. So friends, Vallejoans, countrymen,
Through the chair, one of the recommendations in this report is to keep a list of candidates who are interviewed and found to be acceptable by city council. Can we call upon them to fill that vacancy?
So through the chair, the vacancies are handled by the city clerk's office. So I'm not sure when our city clerk, Dawn Abramson, will publish the vacancy for our commission. So I could definitely forward you she'll usually send an email or a report, not a report, press release about it. And my second report through the chair is for the January meeting. So the first January 1st is the first Thursday of the month, so we wouldn't have the January 1st meeting. We have tentatively reserved the chambers for January 8th, still the same time, 7 p.m. So I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware. If anyone can't make it, then you can just let me know.
Thank you, Shari. Item B is report of the city attorney. I don't see a representative from the city attorney's office present. C is report of the presiding officers and members of the Housing and Community Development Commission. The presiding officer and any commissioner may, from time to time, wish to make certain announcements, requests, information from staff, and report on items of activity that may be of interest to the commission and the general public. Any items, fellow commissioners? I think I would just reiterate our request to hear updates on the projects, and hopefully with time where we can all give those budget numbers a little bit of scrutiny.
Through the chair, yes. I will let Gillian, our city, assistant city manager, Gillian Hay, know that we will have to provide an update in January.
Thank you very much.
Through
Item
the-
D.
Through the chair, Chair Bundy, I'd just like to make a comment regarding my abstaining earlier. I think I have, in the past, stressed the importance of ensuring that the commissioners have all the information, because half of our commission is new. And so it is my request that in 2026, we do have the time to give them history so that they can become more effective. Our end of the year report this year may be in the same template as before, but my bigger concern is the information behind it and that questions are answered. I don't want to sweep questions under the rug as it relates to $3.3 million, because that is our community that we're talking about. So I just ask for you, Chair Bundy, to please be aware of my concern about that, and that we make every effort to make sure they are fully armed and informed.
Thank you for that comment. Anyone else?
Oh, also, really quickly, I know that we all should be on, there's various newsletters that come out, and I saw that Supervisor James has a new newsletter that has a lot of information inside of it, so making a reference to that newsletter. Also, I know the mayor has very specific points that she's put out into the community. Please be mindful of that information, and if there are questions, try to have it on hand so that you can help our community members better understand what's going on in the city of Vallejo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Bundy.
So item 11D is report of ad hoc committees. So no current ad hoc committees coming up.
It should be coming up
Through
through the chair.
Have you met?
Through the chair, our first meeting is actually scheduled for next week. We're picking the exact date, but as far as I'm aware, we do have 2 dates that we'll be choosing from.
Excellent. We look forward to it.
Yeah, me too, man.
Through the chair, I also wanted to give you a heads up that there's a tentative schedule on for the commission, for all the boards, commissions, and committees to present the work plan and budget requests on March 3rd.
Can you repeat
Through
that?
the chair, through the chair. So, is it possible to have more than one meeting, ad hoc meeting a month, to ensure that we meet that deadline to be able to present and bring it back to the rest of our team before we present?
Through the chair, yes, yes.
Okay.
So we'll watch out for the responses of the goals committee, and then we'll start our virtual meetings right away,
Okay.
so that we could make it to the March 3rd
Yeah.
presentation.
Through the chair, can you please remind us of the members of those two ad hoc committees?
Through the chair, we have for the Goals Committee, Commissioners Daniels, Stuland, and Vance, and then the Work Plan Committee, Commissioners Cassidy, Stuland, and Vance.
And then, Shari, as well, we had made the decision to have the budgeting committee formed after that, correct?
Through the chair, yes, that is the decision of the Housing and Community Development Commission.
Thanks.
Through the chair, our city council liaison has arrived, and she has a report.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and coming to a special meeting. So I definitely am interested in hearing the goals that you're setting, and we'll make sure that I'm involved and also making sure that you have an opportunity to share your goals and work plan with the full council. So it'll be really important that I'm able to collaborate with you on that work, and so that we can move it forward to the full council as well, and make sure that you have the support to do that work. And then in addition to that, if you follow me at any point on social media, or if you've listened to the council meeting on this past Tuesday, and it was very late, so you would have to rewind in here. But I did speak on the fact that we haven't opened up a warming center in the city. And I did post a letter, and I did provide that letter to our city manager as well as all of my colleagues. And essentially what that letter speaks to is my concern as not only a council member, but as a member of this community, that we as a council had given directions to the to our city manager in the early spring so that we would be ready for this cold. And while it is true that we have a policy around when we will open up the warming center, our policy happens to be 2 consecutive days at 35 degrees. However, our city manager does have the latitude to override that policy. And in fact, that policy, as it relates to the degrees that we are actually measuring ourselves by, if you will, of whether we're going to open a warming center or not, happens to be the lowest in, I think, in the nation, theoretically. And in San Francisco, as well as in Berkeley, their policy states 40 degrees. And if you look at the CDC, when we have 40 degree weather, hypothermia is real for elders as well as for our children. And what we need to realize is that not only whom we see that are unhoused, there are many invisible individuals who are unhoused. And what I mean by, I'm not saying the individuals, we don't see them. What I mean by not visible to us, they may be in their cars. We have many children who live in cars with their families. It's cold outside. We have elders. It's cold outside. We have individuals who couch surf. And so if they're not able to couch surf, where will they land on any given day? We have individuals who can actually be in storage units. There are a lot of places that many of us have never experienced in our life where people are sleeping. And it is extremely important that we as a city, that we act in a humane, responsible way as leaders. And so I did say that this past week, and it is in my letter on my social media. It has been posted. And I just want to bring that forward again to you as a body, that this body is extremely important in the work that we do for the housed and the unhoused. And as a community, we have to have empathy. And as someone who has been raised in an extended family as a child, I had a grandmother, I call her Granny, and my granny ensured every year as I was growing up, even into my young adulthood as a college student, we always provided brand new blankets to those who were unhoused. And I could remember going to my first year in college and speaking to her every week. And I remember her saying to me, Granny wants you to buy a brand new blanket. And I'm like, what? I'm in college. And she said, you can figure it out. And I figured it out. And so why I say this is because being responsible and thinking about the other is not seasonal. It's a must, and it's every day. And it is true that sometimes we're unable to give, but the little that we do and the little that we have and that we share, it really does make a difference. And as someone who has had the honor and the opportunity to serve as a CEO for the largest housing authority in the state of California in the nation, to know that when individuals come and they need to be housed and you're able to solve some of those challenges and give hope by there's a shelter available or there's an actual unit available really changes the trajectory of people's lives. And I believe in Vallejo that we are a humanistic city and we do care. And so I just want us to always remember in this particular commission in particular is that at the forefront of our work and at the forefront of our mind is how can we be creative? How can we chalk the lines to figure out, help the city figure out how we can do better? This is really important to me. And I'm not here for District 3. I'm the council member of District 3, but I'm here for Vallejo. I'm here for the citizens of Vallejo, and I know we can do better, and we are going to do better. This is really important to me. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for your work. My goal in this coming year is to make sure that we elevate your work to my colleagues, and so your work plan and your goal setting is extremely important, and I'm more than happy to attend any of those meetings. I just need to know in advance. So again, I want to thank you, and I want to say happy holidays, and your work matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Ledesju.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you have any questions of me.
One thing I would ask is, Chari, when the Assistant City Manager makes their update on housing projects, could we also request an update on the warming center, please? I did see on social media today, Andrew Murray said he was looking for a year-long, like, not weather-based warming center, right? A warming center that would be open continuously.
I'm happy to hear
I'd love
that.
to see the plan for that as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. And we'll continue to work with our city leadership in this work. So I just want you to know where I stand. And he's quite well aware of where I stand. So he got first notice. So this is not new news to him.
Through the chair, I just wanted to affirm with Councilwoman Ledesju, it's so important that we have a unique stance on this topic, not just the warming center, but as it relates to unhoused in the city of Vallejo. When our community leaders sign off on things like tonight, we're signing off on loans and such, and having these conversations without background knowledge, it's really hard to go out in the community and put the story together right. And so, Commissioner, I'm sorry, you're no longer a commissioner anymore. Councilwoman Ledesju, I applaud you for taking this on. And my question to you is this: what can we do to make your job easier? The work plan is one thing, but we've done a work plan in the past. We've done goal setting in the past. And getting in front of city council may not be where it's at. So is there anything else we can do that would make your job easier and make their job more applicable in the way of sustainability, so it elevates the conversation to the point of action?
So, you being able to do your work plan, your goal setting is really, for me as a new council member, is where it begins. Because one of the reasons you're here is the expertise and the knowledge that you bring to the work, right? And then the other piece of that is, the other leg of the stool is, what are the goals and what are the overall goals of the city or the city council? And if you've tuned in or at least seen the agenda items, especially early on, we have talked about the unhoused. We have talked about the importance of housing. We have talked about the importance of having different ladders of housing, having affordable housing in our city, correct? And this particular body is directly connected to our housing authority, right? And so the other part of that is, we look at the very fact that we have a shelter that has come through. We have affordable housing that are what I would say supportive housing. And we really need to be an arm to city leadership that talks about what should our housing stock look like so that we have a city where all of our residents live, they have an opportunity for affordability. The reality is that no one theoretically should pay more than 30% of their income on housing. We know that that's not true, right? So what does that mean when we look at the population, our population, and we look at the data about our population and the different economic status of our residents that live here? What is it that we need? One of the things that we're working on is we agreed this Tuesday around renters' protections and a community trust. So that work has to be done. That is a long time coming. To live in a city, to live in a county where there are no renter protections, that's not, helpful. Because when we have individuals who aren't protected for varying reasons, what we end up potentially with are individuals being unhoused for varying reasons. So this kind of work is really important. So we have individuals that are charged with working around that particular subject matter. How does this body fit into that body of work? That's important. And so for me, this is a new starting point when we talk about how we make goal setting and a work plan that a commission takes the time and they take their time and their energy and put thought into what we need. And how do we sync all that work up? How does it come before council? How do I, as a liaison, support that work and make sure that work is right-sized and keep pushing it forward as the city is pushing forward in these different areas? Otherwise, the reality is, and it's been said on the dais, why do we have a body of commissioners if we're not going to use your expertise, if we're not going to take your work plans, approve them, or say, here are the things that, yes, as a city, we can definitely commit on and begin to do that work and support these things. For these reasons, we need to hold off. But we should be able to agree to what's in the work plan and help move that work forward and have you be an arm to me, because this is one of the areas that I choose to work in. And so that's why I offer today that I definitely want to understand, what are we doing in goal setting? What are we doing with our work plan? Because you're going to be an arm to me as a liaison to this commission, to my colleagues, to the full council, and to the city staff in doing this work.
One more question, Chair Bundy, before I take my rest this evening. Councilwoman Letterju, what's really important to this commission, and has been a big conversation between the chair and myself, being that we've been here the longest, is there's always conversation about forward movement and forward thinking, but this commission also lives in reality where there's been no enforcement. There's been a rental cap for Solano County in the past, especially during COVID. There were complaints about people not adhering to the cap. And so when you say things to this commission like be your arm, I think we'll be both of your arms and your feet. But we're also going to ask of you to please add that additional, if you will, fourth leg to this stool called enforcement, where those who do choose to take advantage of the apoplectic stance of Vallejo and use it as a weapon against our progress, that they're held accountable. We have not had anyone willing to do enforcement, even when there was a rental cap. There's been no survey. And so for the residents to trust that we have the will and the means, that's never been their question. It's whether or not we have the integrity to stand in what's right and fight for those who have the ability to get better. We're kind of a barrier to their progress because we will not enforce what we say that we have signed off on. So it is my ask of you to please consider the word enforcement in your plan for all those people who have had to pay rent. And when there was a cap, the landlords took advantage of that because we have such an historical, apoplectic, lackadaisical perspective of enforcement in our city.
And point well taken. And so, again, when you're setting up, when you talk about renters' protections, you also have a legal component to that. And so when I think about, as Vice Chair has stated, when I think about enforcement, it's also what is the legal component, what are the legal services that help us do that work. And there are models, and so part of, as you're working through things, it's how do you benchmark and how do you look at the different models that are set up? You know, and San Francisco has renter protections. There's a great model there, and it's highly enforced. So there are models that show us what to do, and we don't always have to reinvent the wheel. We can plug and play and say, this is how we see this and envision this. How do we certify it? How do we build it? And so, again, when I think about the work of this commission, I think about all things housing. And what does that look like? And, you know, that's my heartbeat. People being housed. It's important. And then when I think about the other piece that makes my heart skip is how do we do workforce development? Because people have to have jobs, economic development. People have to have jobs to be able to stay housed, right? So there's this whole tandem of things that have to happen for people to begin that trajectory of moving onward and forward. But we have to be a city that's willing to start laying those bricks in a way that are sustainable. And I believe in sustainability. I believe in transformation. I don't believe in change, because change is at a moment in time. But when you talk about transformation, it means hearts and minds have to change about how we see things and how we are placing things in order, those building blocks to get us to where we need to be as a thriving city. Not part of the city thriving, but the entire city thriving. So if you don't want to thrive in this city, then you get to make that choice. But we want the building blocks to be there so that if you choose to get on the bus, you can get on the bus. You won't get left behind. And if you're a little behind and we've already started, it's okay. We still have a place for you to be. And that's how we have to begin to think. It's like I told you about my granny. We were taught early on how to care for the other. And just because you care for the other doesn't mean that necessarily you have less. You have more, because when everyone is thriving and moving, it has a different impact on how we live in harmony with one another. And that doesn't mean that we don't have outliers and things don't happen, but we do need to understand how do we carry ourselves together. And this is part of that piece, housing. Without housing, you cannot think about the next thing. You just cannot. If I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm not clean, how can I think about the next thing? I can't. If I can get you housed, regardless of what state you're in, and begin to settle you, I can guarantee you, you can begin to think about the next thing. And I'm feeding you, you get fed, you can think differently. I know it for a fact. I did it for 6 years, intently, intensely, intentionally, and it makes a difference. And I was told by many who were in supportive housing, who were in housing without supportive housing, it makes a difference. So that's what I'm looking for from this commission, to help me champion those things. And we have a district supervisor, D1, which is Supervisor Cassandra James, who has a very strong housing background, and together we're doing work even on the county level around housing. But you know, you can't turn a 747 on a dime, so it's not going to happen overnight. So I do want to say that. But every step matters. Every step matters. And every step that we make, we're going to hit some bumps, but I will be here pushing and pulling and making sure, committed, that we get there. And it won't all be smooth, but it's commitment. And so as you're on this commission, I just, again, thank you, and I'm committed to the work. And we've been doing a lot of groundwork on the city council around the conversation of why do we have commissions if we're not allowing them to do the work, if we're not hearing from them. So we just really have a different expectation for our work moving forward. So, we've been here almost a year. But it takes time, and we're shifting. So thank you for your patience, especially Chair Bundy, Vice Chair Jackson. It was swapped around. They've been here. They've been holding us up, and I'm really grateful because it's important, and they hold our historical knowledge. And so I'm grateful for that historical knowledge. They're passionate about what they do, what they believe. Otherwise, they still wouldn't be here. And so I'm honored to be able to be a liaison to this commission with them here, with you all, making this happen, because it's important. So thank you. And I want to thank Chari, our staff secretary. She has been just pushing it along, and so lots is happening. And, we know at the federal level, our current administration would love to annihilate HUD, but we will see how it all comes forward, and we'll keep moving and doing what has to be done. And so we are in times of uncertainty more than we ever have been in prior years. And we have an administration, I'm not afraid to say it, that really is hostile towards basic human needs. But that doesn't mean that we get to stop doing our work. We still have to do what's right, what's fundamentally right. And we're able to do that at the local level, and we need to be creative. And yes, we only have so many resources, but we can be creative. And one of the things that fundamentally I believe in, that we are working with Supervisor James and I and Councilmember Matias, we talk about this, and it really is, how will we bring philanthropy to our city? And in order to bring philanthropy to our city, we also have to show and demonstrate how accountable we are to these social issues and how to, and show that we're able to navigate and commit and move things along. And so this is really important, how we continue to step along as we are working on the outside to determine how we can have public-private partnerships in our city. We as a county get the fewest dollars out of any Bay Area county in philanthropy dollars. But I'm determined, along with my colleagues, along with Supervisor James, that we're going to change that. And it's about getting on the map, it's about accountability, and it is about how we see ourselves transforming, where it becomes undeniable that something is happening here and that we should be invested in, we deserve to be invested in. So, yeah, we have a lot of work to do, but all of you are here, and we can do it. I'm here, my colleagues are here. We have a county supervisor. We're here, and we're doing the work. We have an assembly member who's standing with us, our senator. So we can do this. And we're just in a new place and a new era in what we're doing in our work, doing it differently. So we have to think outside of the box while we do the work. So again, I thank you for all your time, all your service. And I am paying attention. I am watching one body, but I am listening, and I'm available to you. All you have to do is call on me, but I am available, and everybody knows how to get me. So there's multiple ways, and don't ever feel that you can't reach out. I am relatable and reachable. So, and I'll make time. So thank you again, and I want to say happy holidays, happy new year, because you all won't be back until the new year, but I want to say happy new year and thank you. And when we come back next year, we want to hit the ground and we want to be ready to go, because I'm going to work you hard. I have a lot of things I want to do, and I'm going to come to you for help. So. And I just want to see where you're thinking, and I do want to sit with you and hear it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ledesju.
Thank you, Councilmember Ledesju. I did have a question, and I appreciate what you said about basically taking small incremental steps. And I apologize if this may not be the appropriate venue to ask the question, but going back to the warming centers, I don't think it's acceptable that we have the lowest, threshold of 35 degrees. What is the mechanism in which that policy changes, and what do we need to do to change it?
So we're talking to the city manager. He's well aware. So
it's solely at his discretion. He's the one that set that policy. Is that correct, or is that a city
I'm not
council?
sure who set the policy. It's a policy in the city, so he has the authority to, even though that policy has been set, and we have asked for it to be changed. And so we're waiting for it to be changed. And as Chair Bundy has stated, he has noticed that he's looking to having a center, whether it's a cooling center or a warming center, open. And so I will leave it right there. He's moving. And as a body, it's our responsibility to keep pushing. So he is moving, and he fully understands that our policy does not work. He fully understands that, as I've told you, I was very clear, and others have been very clear, it's cold outside. And I am not interested and very concerned that we would have the possibility of finding one of our unhoused individuals not alive. And when we all can go home and be warm and close our doors and think that this is satisfactory, it is not, and he's very clear on that. And so I speak very freely about it because it's very important. And it's not acceptable. And so I believe we're turning a corner. And again, it's not going to happen overnight, and we will keep tabs, and I will have more discussions with him along with other council members. So the goal is to move forward. But I want to acknowledge that, yes, it is an issue and that it's not acceptable. And if we didn't do that, we would not be honest or responsible leaders. So I do apologize on behalf, to our citizens that we have failed, because we have. So thank you.
Just a quick, through the chair, check-in with our commissioners. We all understand that Vallejo is a city manager-governed city, right? We have a mayor, but our mayor really acts as a member of leadership in a lot of regards, and it's our city manager. We all know that, right? We're all clear about that. Okay, fantastic. So that comment was super important. And through the chair, last comment. Historically, at the end of the year, we like to say something to our community and for those who watch us and for those who come back later and watch these recordings. And it's probably a good time to say it. It's been 13 years as a commissioner for me. I don't know about for you, Bundy. 4 or 5 years, Chair Bundy? Okay. And the most important thing we can have is the support of our city council liaison. In the 14 years that I've served, and I may have that wrong, it's somewhere between 10 and 14, I have not had a city council member active as a spokesperson, support, director of commission. So this is a new era across the board. This is the most I've seen a city council member in a commission ever. So we thank Councilwoman Lettigiou and all of our city council members that are working hard with their commissions to turn the city around. So thank you so much, Chair Bundy, for that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Just want, through the chair, I just want to say thank you for Councilmember Lettigiou, because I too agree, because I started out as a commissioner on participatory budgeting, and you have been the most active liaison that I've encountered. So I thank you.
And with that, that would bring us to item 13, which is adjournment.
Happy holidays.